Hey guys, my name is Brittany Slack and I'm the CEO and founder of Beautiful Soul Inc. I'm excited to have you guys here. Our mission is to beautify a healing soul while serving the community. I will be interviewing Miss Dominique, and so I'm excited for you guys to watch and to be encouraged and by hearing someone else's testimony, and I'm interested into learning more about what you guys learn from this. Enjoy. You could just introduce yourself, Miss Twyman.
Hi, thank you, Brittany, for having me. My name is Dominique Twyman. I'm a mother of two grown, semi-grown young men. They're 27 and 22. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised. I work for Social Security. I've been there for 23 plus years. I'm 44 years old. I'm an empty nester. That's the word they call it. I'm an empty nester.
Heard of it. I never heard of it.
And it feels good. And I'm still learning it too, because it's been an adjustment,
Mhm.
really. So
I'm glad to have you here. Thank you for doing this interview and agreeing to do so. I'm so sorry if you hear the geese in the background.
that's okay.
I can't control that, but we can get into it. What is your story? What events in your life have shaped who you are today? What
Okay.
would be the testimony you would like to share for us to get to know you, Miss Twyman?
The question. My story would be, I started with very, very, very humble beginnings. My mom and father were both addicted to drugs. So by the time, at the time, I had two siblings. They're 2 years and 3 years younger than me. We were placed in a foster home. We were removed from the home in the late 80s, about 84, 85. We were then placed in a foster home October of 85 with a woman named Ramona Tandy. And I guess that's where my journey begins for me, because she was a woman, not very educated, but kind of real. And ironically, that's kind of what I needed, not knowing at the time, because coming into a foster home with your siblings and me being the caregiver for my sisters, it was kind of a struggle. And so she allowed me to be okay with letting go and be okay with being a kid. When we talk about my story is really truly of this, of forgiveness, of forgiving my mother and my father so that I could heal. And I'm so sorry if I get emotional,
No, please do not apologize. This is your story.
because, you know, um, I had so much hate for them. And and it really wasn't for me. It was for my sisters, because I always felt like I was strong and I could make it.
Yeah.
But my sisters, they were young and they were looking up to me. And in a foster home, so many things took place, as far as, with my mom coming in and out and visiting. It just gave my sisters and me a false sense of hope, of like, we're going home, we're going home. And then she wouldn't follow through. And so instead of my grandma, and when I say grandmother, I'm talking about my foster mom, Ramona Tandy, she would, and I would talk so bad about my mother. And I remember one time her pulling me to the side and saying, Dominique, you don't know what happened to her. You don't know what started, how her life went, and how it ended up this way. All I knew is it was drugs, and it separated me from my family.
How did that make you feel just hearing one perspective and not even knowing your mom for yourself? How did that make you feel as a child?
Um, at the time, because she had a daughter there that was just 2 years older than I was, and her talking to me differently than she talked to her daughter, it's really weird, because you really don't realize those things until you're older. So a lot of the things that I'm like, oh my God, that's why she did that, or or that's why she was this way, or just trying to make sense of kind of how she handled the difference of all of the different children in there. For me, she realized that I needed to be a kid and I needed to let go of being grown and worrying about grown up things because I didn't have to anymore. And so when I when I finally did that, when she told me that kind of about my mother, I heard it, but I just kind of pushed it back somewhere. It wasn't until I got grown and had, well, really wasn't grown. I had a child at 17. And so it wasn't until I kind of went through some things that I realized, like, oh, okay, I'm just stronger. I had a stronger foundation with my foster mom. And because my mother wasn't shut out of my life, she was still kind of in and out when she wanted to visit. My grandmother never really made stipulations about that. But what was the turning point for me, and I didn't realize that that was also a healing point, was my mother's mother passed away. And at the time, I just had my son. So this was like March of 1994. And so my mother had a back accident. She had like all these pins. My biological mother had pins and rods in her legs. So she needed somebody to travel with her to go bury her mother. So I went with her. And when we got there, of course, it's like all of these untold stories or hidden truths come out when people die. So when I went back to West Virginia to bury my grandmother, a lot of the family were sitting around and they were talking. And then I had an opportunity, other than the occasions that I met my grandmother, they weren't really great. She wasn't really nice and I didn't really know her. But I was able to understand that she was an alcoholic, she was abusive to my mom. So it was like, wow, she really kind of just repeated a cycle. And alcoholism is a disease and it's an illness. And so with that knowledge at that time, because I was real big and just all through high school, so it allowed me to know that I was able to accept that it was more than just her not caring about me. It was her having the illness, her having demons that she's never dealt with, never healing, never having any mental health care, treatment, and then drug use was trying to mask. So I was able to understand, like, this was bigger than just me and my sisters, you know what I mean? So it allowed me to forgive her. And, and then I had to tell her that, you know what I'm saying? Because saying it and thinking that you really do forgive a person is different than going to that person and saying, Mama, I forgive you. And when I did that, it was just, it was just like, I don't know, just like a burden lifted, just removed, because I was carrying this dead weight of hate. And
Was weighing you down as
yeah,
well.
and it wasn't letting me, like, it affected me and the relationship with me and my children, and it took therapy, to even get here.
Yeah.
But that was the best thing that I could have ever done so that I could excel, because at that moment when I forgave her and truly forgave her and told her, look, I don't care what happened, you don't owe me anything, I forgive you and I love you. And it done something to her too, because you can feel it. I just knew that she never said she's sorry, and I don't need to hear that. um I know she is, you know what I mean, just by the things that I see her accept
Yeah.
from my other siblings, and I know it comes from a place of guilt or hurt, but so I know that, and she has to deal with that, you know what I mean? And we all nobody's perfect. There's no handbook to being a parent. There's no handbook to being grown.
Yeah.
You kind of just you learn as you go. And if you lucky along the way, you get some angels that drop in through there and help carry you on through. So
Yes. So how did you spoke about like your therapy had helped you through it. How did, therapy and your faith, how did those two things help you in the process as you're hurting and you're trying to get through the trials and tribulations in your life? What was that process like for you, going through that?
okay, at first it took me a long time to go to therapy because one, you grow up and like you don't tell people your business. You don't tell this, you
As
don't say
the
that.
black homes
The
say,
black homes, you keep what goes on in your house in your
stay
house.
in the
So
house.
yeah. So it took a while. Honestly, I didn't get professional therapy until I was about 25.
Mm,
And the reason I was able to get it is one, my job, they gave that type of help. They have that type of help. Prior to that, it wasn't, I didn't have the resources to get the help. And honestly, growing up, the state, they didn't really care about foster kids. It was just if you got into a home, then they was cool and you wasn't causing problems and you stayed there. They didn't provide any therapy and mental health treatment, which they should have, but they didn't. And my grandmother wasn't too far off from the same type of black family homes. My foster mom, she was like, goes on in here, stay in here. Thank the Lord wasn't no funny business going on in there. But
yeah.
so she but she was raised that way. But I've met a lot of different women and people in my life. And so those different people kind of encourage like therapy. If we would talk and if I was open to them, they'd be like, "Have you ever talked to anybody?" I'm like, "Nah, girl, you ain't tell nobody my business." And so, and it was this one lady named Corinne Shines who was like, "Honey, you know, you therapy isn't like what you think it is. Ain't nobody gonna run back and tell you business." She was like, "But it's a way to get the stuff off your chest, and then you're not talking to somebody that you know. So hell, just tell them." Excuse my French. So she gave me the number of this black therapist, and one day I was just like, "What the heck? I'm gonna call and see." So I called, and I was able to. So when I went in, I was so nervous, and um, it was good that they were black because she was like, she kind of could tell me like, "I already know you probably this is your probably first time everything." So she kind of helped me start a
Easing
dialogue,
you into
and
easing you into the process so you don't have to be shy about where the start is.
yes, yes. So and and it was like just talking, just saying everything that was on my mind, everything that I went through. And she kind of helped me figure out, that those times kind of shape like the type of man you choose, the type of if you're promiscuous or not, and all of these things that when you're honest, because therapy is about being honest. And I learned there to never lie to yourself. You might lie to other people, but you don't lie to you.
Yeah, because
And
it's like preventing you from getting help and
exactly.
you delaying your own healing in the process. I understand. That's where I am.
Yeah, because you when you get in there, you're like you're telling this person all of your it's being vulnerable. It's just being vulnerable and really wanting to get to the root of the problem to be the best you that you can be. And
Yeah.
because at that point in my life, that's really all I wanted. You know what I mean? I wanted to be the best Dominique and the best mother for my kids that I could be
Oh,
because
beautiful. I like that. Like,
yeah,
really beautiful, like, you realizing that you needed more for yourself, and in order to even give more to, for your children and be able to be the best version of yourself. Do you feel like your faith, play a part into who you are today?
Oh, girl, yes, I know I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. Do you hear me? Let me tell you something. It was nothing but God that got me through some of these times because when I think back, we go all the way back to before I moved with my foster mother. There was times that we didn't have nothing to eat. And one day I just prayed and I kid you not, somebody knocked at the door. When you're in the house by yourself, you better not open the door. But the man called my name, and he was like, he knew me, like he knew we was in there. And he said that, he said, Dominique, I know you're in there. I need you to sign this paper. We got a box. The box right here. I'm gonna come around to the window. You sign this paper.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
like 7. So I'm like, okay, because I don't know. It was authoritative. I don't know why I did it because I
Hmm.
know I would have
But the
beat to
spirit,
death.
it was the
But
spirit that
it,
knew to do
I
it.
know it now, honey. I know it was nothing but God. But at the time, you think, oh, I don't want to get a whooping. So I went around to the side of the window. He did just what he said. Stuck the clipboard in there. I scribbled my name, and he went on. I had my sister open the door and drug in a box, and it was food prepared. We didn't have to cook. We didn't have to do nothing. Just eat.
Wow.
So, I know there was nothing but God. I know it was nothing but God. I was molested when I was 7 or 8, around then. And the fact that I'm still here and I'm healed and I'm that's behind me. It used to be a time when I was ashamed to say that or talk
That's
about that.
hard. That's really hard. Like I had similar experience, and it's it's like, in a way, I know for me it's like embarrassment. Like, dang, you're weak. Like, it make you sound like you say those things to yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
in reality it's like looking at it and reevaluating the situation is just like that person was broken to even do that. That's
Mm-hmm.
how broken. It doesn't tell you about you, but it's more of like them. And that even though that happened to you, it's not your identity. um
Mm-hmm.
it's just what happened. So
It's just what happened. And I think that's what, because he was somebody that my mother never knew. And this sounds so sad that it sounds like all the blame is on my mom. And my mom and dad are still married and they're still together. And it's like I question myself even in therapy, like, why do I blame my mama and not my daddy?
mhm.
Why am I so hard on her and not him? And my rationalization was that he was always locked up. So he was always in jail. When that occurred, he was locked up. We got placed in a foster home. He was locked up. You know, so it was like he was never there, but never stopped to think that part of that could have been my mother's reasoning too. It's like you never know
It's hard
what.
to know as a child until you
Yeah,
get
it's.
older. Then it's like, wow, like, because I'm becoming an adult now, I
Mm-hmm,
understand why. You was just given the cards you were given and the best that you can with what you know.
mm-hmm,
Unfortunately, we can blame our parents, but it's like one of those things. I remember someone told me that you're not responsible. You can't take on what someone did to you. However,
yep,
um,
yep,
like, you're responsible for your own healing at the end of the day, and that is where you can't push it in someone else's box to get you healed. But it's your responsibility to be healed from these things. But it's hard when
mm-hmm,
you know the root, and you know that, dang, my
mm-hmm,
mom had something to do with this, my dad has something
yeah,
to do with this. It's like it hurts, but
mm-hmm.
change you is a process. I definitely think it's a process.
It
Like,
is, and to me, it's like I always put that in the line of when they say, like, if you're a drug addict, you're always a recovering addict. Like, healing is a forever thing. It's a constant thing. You know what I mean? So it's like you're forever healing because some things I didn't realize bothered me until they just resurfaced out the blue. And you're like, what the hell am I? Why is that? And so it's a constant battle and it's a constant reminder, like, you know what? I overcame that. There's nothing that I can't overcome. There's nothing that I can't do. There is
Yes.
nothing that I can't be. And that's, and my sister asked me this morning because I told her about this interview today. And she was like, so what you gonna say? What would be your thing you would say? And honestly, and it just, and you kind of, you said it, and I told her, well, what I would say to the next person is, whatever that is inside of you, activate that hate to just be the best you, the best in the face, flamboyant, just beautifully you, uniquely you. And I told her that no matter where you came from, no matter how it started, no matter what road, obstacle, cord, wire you trip on your way up, just keep going. Just get back up and keep going, and know that no matter, none of that stuff determines your ending. You are the deciding factor for you.
Yes. You get to decide what life you choose and how you want to live it.
You
And
do.
it's nice to know that. I mean, you do have that control, so it's like, why not? Why keep delaying it and just do it? Just do what
Yes.
you
You
putting out.
gotta you gotta find that inner, because when you grow up, see, I kind of, people were they used to say, oh, you're gonna be just like your mama, you're gonna have all these kids, you're gonna be a drug addict, just honestly, people said that. And all I knew was, and then it almost felt like at one point, like I thought like I was heading down that path because I had a baby early, then abused drugs. That was never my thing. But promiscuity was, and then that's another gateway to other stuff. So, I had to get a grip. I had to get a grip on me, and not lose me and say, Dominique, now this ain't the worst that you could be doing, but this damn sure ain't the best that you can do. And so I just had to tell myself, I had to look at my son one day and just look at him. That's my oldest son. And I looked at him one day and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna let you down. And I just made sure I didn't. I made sure I finished school. I went back to school. That didn't really work for me because I was young, and I was young and I was still learning. So, but God is good. I just happened to get good jobs. Like I got a job with the state really early. And then from there, I went to Social Security. I've just been there forever. So by the grace of God, it allowed me to provide my kids with the opportunities that I didn't have. It provided me with opportunities that I didn't have. And it allowed me to help my sisters for things that they didn't have. You know what I mean? So God has been good. God has been the main man in my whole life during this whole thing.
Thank you so much for just
You're
having
welcome.
this interview today. I truly do appreciate you for being vulnerable and transparent about your experiences and allowing yourself to continue on this path of just growing and healing and owning your own truth, which is very beautiful to see. So I'm excited to see what God does in your life and continue to do. Any
Ooh.
last things you would like to say for anyone who
For anyone that's listening, you know, in all honesty, for anyone that's listening, I just want you to know that, God got your back. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He would never do that. That's not the type of God he is. There has been a lot of good things in my life, a lot of bad things. But at the end of the day, I kept my faith. I thank the Lord that he has shown me things that, you know, I may have tried, but I didn't try. He gave me the discernment to see what's good and what's not for me, and never allow me to be afraid to stand up and say, hey, I don't like this, or this isn't right. And I just want for any woman, man listening, just believe in you. Know that no matter what you go through, all those just shape the beautiful person that you're born to be. Don't let anybody stifle that dream. Because at the end of the day, they can't stop you. What's for you is for you because God says so.
That's right. You talking to me because I needed that encouragement.
Yes.
I needed that encouragement. Like nobody
Yes.
talks about that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. Bye.
Guys, that concludes our video for Beautiful Soul. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you shared, that you are encouraged by this interview. And if you're interested in doing an interview as well, please mention that in the comment section or email us, and we'll be sure to get that situated. But we look forward for more videos like this to encourage you guys in your healing process. Stay blessed. Bye.